appreciate the folks who came out from Oliver Springs. I appreciate the folks who spoke. Ms. Patterson said, if you want to know if what Oliver Springs wants, surely we know. I appreciate what Mr. Smith said, and I appreciate folks taking the time to come and show support. We have to do what we feel is right, and sometimes we don't always know what is right. But when people are willing, and this is what I said to the school board, and I'll stop, we may not always know what's right to do. But when people are willing to help themselves, that's an achievement. And that says that's what's right to do. When people give their time, they give their money, and they put it in their community, and they try to invest in their students and in their student future, then they are speaking. They don't have to hold signs, and they don't have to stand in front of buildings, and they don't have to be really loud. That's very loud. So I appreciate the things that they've done. We always hear folks say, you know, you want to help people who help themselves. And we still have to live by that. I mean, we do. We have to help people who are willing to help themselves. So for a community to gather together and collect $120,000 in one night, I mean, Junior, can you even imagine being able to do something like that?
It's incredible.
It is. That shows an investment worthy into those kids. Not just those kids, Mr. Hooks, Mr. East, but the kids of Roane County. They can set an example. If Roane County looks at Oliver Springs, they can be an example to every school in Roane County. We say we love our schools. Let's put our money where our mouth is at. I mean, honestly, that's incredible. And I don't have enough words to really describe that, to say, hey, look, we're going to help ourselves. That's incredible. That speaks volume. And that makes me really proud, not to be from Oliver Springs, Mr. Berry, but to be from Roane County. That makes me proud to be from Roane County. And surely everybody in this courtroom tonight, if you think about that, that has to make you proud to be from Roane County, where people are willing to help themselves. I mean, honestly, Howard, people willing to help themselves. I'll just say, in a world and a time today that says, give me, let me have, do this for me, Ben, we don't have that anymore. For people to say, in one night, to raise that kind of money to help themselves is incredible. I think we know how Oliver Springs feels, Mr. Burry. I really think we know how Oliver Springs feels tonight. If they was just to come here and say, oh, save our school, you'd have to kind of think about things. But David, when they say, hey, here's what we've done, and if you read these accomplishments, if you read this, I mean, honestly, you know, this may not mean much to folks who came from Atlanta, and it probably ain't. My wife was on an airplane last week, and she sat with a professor from UT. And for some reason, my wife was talking to him about schools. And apparently the subject came up and about consolidated schools, and this is what he said. And you know, this is a hearsay thing, Mr. Hook, so I didn't get the guy to come in here from UT to speak. But what he said he said, consolidated schools probably works really good for Atlanta. And he said it may even work good for a city like Chattanooga. He said, but it doesn't work well for Roane County. He said geography-wise, he said, you're too spread out, you're too far away. He said it just really probably won't work for Roane County. I don't know if it does or not. I'm not here to debate the consolidated. What I'm here to do is to celebrate Oliver Springs, the people, the citizens of Oliver Springs, loving their kids enough, not just to sit and talk about it, but to have action. I like action. Thank you all very much. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Hester.
So my question on the 3.9 million, so this gets added to the 6 million that we've already borrowed. So it gives us a total pot of 9.9 million. All right, so, and we waived the rule for the funding of Oak Ridge under this as well. This 3.9 million, we don't have to raise funds for the city of Oak Ridge in this, right? Because it's not a property tax increase or anything else?
No, so the initial resolution that was adopted was 7.1 million.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, because you are sharing the proceeds with this, with the city of
The
Oak Ridge.
7.1, but not the 3.9.
No, the 3.9 will do the same.
Okay, so I misread something pursuant to section 9.
Yeah,
21,
anytime you're borrowing money and you're taxing the entire county, you're sharing the proceeds.
All right, but so the 7.1
So
was.
that's $11 million is what that is.
All right, we've already got the 7.1, right?
We do have the 7.1.
All right, so the 3.9 is not a tax increase. That was raised from where we elevated our debt services, is that not correct?
Well, that is correct.
So we do not have to pay the city of Oak Ridge any of this 3.9.
No, we do. If we want to, for them to repay the indebtedness of it,
Okay.
you have to share. And that's where we got into. So we were taxing everyone and we're sharing the proceeds. The proceeds get shared as the money gets distributed. So the way it works is all proceeds of debt comes into our general capital projects fund. And as the school starts doing construction and needing to draw, we will transfer money to the Roane County schools. We'll transfer money to the Oak Ridge City schools.
Okay. All right, I'm somewhat still confused that the 3.9 is not a property tax increase.
Well, see, so what
But
happened?
it was a property tax increase originally when we increased our debt service.
So if y'all remember when we were working on the budget last year, our debt policy said that if we are anticipating a construction project to issue debt, we have to build up our reserve accounts. And last year as we were adopting the budgets through this body, we recognized that you had a school building project going on and you had a jail project that was potentially going on. So what the commission did is they had 10 cents that was pledged to pay for debt service. So that 10 cents will basically pay for almost $20 million of debt. Okay? So if you take the 7.1, you take the 3.9, 11 million, you got $9 million more dollars there that really the tax is set in place to borrow. So if you commingle this with the discussion of the jail, your jail's going to cost you about another nickel. If that project comes in at $24 million.
No matter what you use that money for, you still have to pay Oak Ridge part of it.
That is correct.
Yeah, but I guess what I was getting at pursuant to Tennessee Code, what is it, 921-129, we've already paid that back to them. Already.
No, we have not paid anything to the city of Oak Ridge because the money has not been distributed to our schools.
Okay, so we're holding that money drawing interest off of it.
That is correct.
Okay. Thank you,
Commissioner Meadows.
Got a couple of things to bring up. First, I want to congratulate the students, faculty, everyone in Oliver Springs, because what they've done is incredible. I mean, that much money in that short period of time, the pride they show in their school is very much to be commended. You know, it's good to see. What I go back to is the school board. When all this came up, we had a 3-school proposal, keep Oliver Springs, keep Midway, consolidate the remainder. Okay? That would have kept those schools plus built another. That was voted down, not only by us, but the commissioners, both in, I think, in Oliver Springs area and Midway area. This came, okay, then that kind of all went by the wayside. Oliver Springs was, and Midway was pulled out. Not placed before us by the school board, but it ended up here. Midway does need the improvements because regardless of what happens to Midway, there's still going to be school buildings there, whether it be the elementary school and the middle school. That has to be done. So now we're looking at Oliver Springs when the school board has proposed to us 2 schools for the entire county. My thought is, if we do something with Oliver Springs, where does that leave the remainder of the students in Roane County? Let's say we get a situation where we do this. Well, that knocks the 2-school proposal out. Okay, well then what happens when something happens to Roane County High School? They're going to raise their hand. Wait a minute, we need repairs, we need a new high school, Rockwood, Harriman. Are we going to go out and borrow money on each of these individual schools, increase their debt proportionally, and then we're right back where we started? Yeah, granted, we will have one less facility, but that would get us 16 facilities to upkeep, not 17. We're the smallest county in the state with 5 high schools. And if we do all this, that does not add 1 teacher, 1 class, any more CTE than what we have today. Is that really moving forward? I just don't see it. What I still want to see is something that affects the county as a whole, rather than piecemeal it together like we have for years and years. Look at one plan, one where the people in, let's say, south of Rockwood or north of Harriman or wherever they may be, have the same opportunities in that school that they have in others, which we do not have right now. Where you are geographically determines what you take. That's just not right. We have your man on the airplane that's talking to your wife, I'm sure they had a good conversation, but how does he know that consolidated schools won't work in Roane County? We've never had them. What does he have to compare it to? I don't know. And the 5-school system has worked for us for years and years and years and years. But I think, some time ago, I think that model has kind of gone away to where with the advances in technology and things like that, that a few more students under more roof, we can offer more. So that's really all I have to say. Thank you.
And right quick, just to clarify a point of order, most people may have read my comment that was in the Roane County News that I was sort of taken back about the school board that Thursday night making that vote. I was, Mr. Meadows, I was under the impression when we left that night, I made a comment to Mr. Brackett. I said we've redone the school liaison committee. From this point forward, hopefully we can get together to make a path forward. That Tuesday night came. So that was where my comments came from, because I wasn't expecting what happened Tuesday night happened. Commissioner Hooks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We made a commitment. We need to honor our commitment. We've already put the proceeds in place to pay for the commitment. And a comment was made at our joint session at the closing about how Roane County didn't have this. Roane County didn't have that. Roane County is less than anybody else. I loved it when I heard that Roane County is the greatest county in the state of Tennessee. And I can say that because they adopted me. I'm not originally from Roane County. I'm from Anderson County.
That's right. We knew it.
Bless your heart.
Roane County's been good to me. So I done a little research and had some other people to help me out since I'm an old country boy. Go to greatschools.org. Now we've been compared to Dayton. We've been compared to Lenore City. We've been compared to Loudon. We've been compared to Hardin Valley. Wow, the big mega school of Hardin Valley. The school that everybody dreams of. Well, guess what? My research found that Roane County exceeded Dayton. Look it up yourself. Loudon County came in lower than Roane County. Lenore City, where they got tons of sales tax money going into their school system, came in under Roane County. Hardin Valley and Roane County are rated at a 9. Can you believe that? Little old Roane County, Tennessee. Now our schools are no good. We've got to change what obviously is working. I didn't make this up. GreatSchools.org. This is from my school. Graduation rate, whole 9 yards. Gives an overall rating. So I hope we as commissioners look at what the people of Roane County has spoken for. And I wanted to ask, and I didn't want to be out of order, and I am an old Baptist preacher, and I get a little long-winded. But I wanted to ask, because it was also mentioned in our workshop, well, that resolution that was put on the ballot wasn't worded right. People in Roane County really didn't know what they were voting for. I guess we're deplorables.
Go ahead,
You ain't kidding.
I knew what I was voting for when I pushed that button.
That's right. Yes, sir.
And 14,000 other people knew what they were voting for. I hope we do the right thing. Thank you, Mr.
I
Chairman.
was the deplorable that wrote it, so I guess I'm Commissioner Henderson.
Mr. Woody, I just had one question. This money, when it goes to the school system, is it earmarked where it can only go to the sewer system? Is it earmarked where it will only go to the expansion of Auburn Springs Middle School?
Yeah.
That it can't be transferred from one item to another into something else of their choosing?
Yeah, the way this is set up, it comes into the county's capital projects fund, so it comes into one that we control. So we will be aware of anything, we pay the bills for the school system anyway, so we'll do the transfers as they're paying for these projects.
Okay.
So let me just clarify one thing. The 7.1 has been borrowed. The Midway project it's a green light go anyway. They're doing some work. We haven't spent any money transfer, but that was a go anyway. What got held up is the Auburn Springs because there wasn't enough money. We come to find out afterwards to finish that one. So that's the only reason that one has been paused, is because there wasn't enough money to complete it.
So are we not getting good estimates, or?
You had a combination of factors, I think. The school board had sent us the request in May. We adopted in November, so there was a 6-month lag on the time that the school board, so the data that they had apparently was older data that they received from their architects. It wasn't something, I think I heard something that, why did this commission, why were they dealing with 2-year-old data? Well, we were given the data from the schools, it was 6 months, so it wasn't old data. And just even after the commission adopted the resolution in November, we received information from the schools in January saying we want this other project, and they listed these two at the same dollar amount. So I think it was maybe an oversight by the architect, the significance that had the significant amount of the project up there. I think there was just something missed on the project. I think they may have just, did square footage, but it wasn't something, I want to make sure the commission understands, it wasn't something that you all did using bad data, or that I did using bad data. It was data, the most current data we received from the schools at that
I
time.
think if you're correct, the partial plan with Oliver Springs and Midway was approved by the school board December 2018, submitted to the commission January of 2019, we voted on it February of 2000.
Well, I got back to looking, it all backed up a few more months, but it was kind of very similar.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chairman. Commissioner Shears.
Yes, Mr. Woody, that was basically the same thing that I was going to ask, what he said. Now, you are going to put it on there just like the sewer plants south the river, that they get paid by what they get done.
Yeah.
Any remaining funds, where does it go to?
Well, so
Because-
any remaining fund stays in the capital projects account, and, we, generally, as you borrow money, it is for capital projects, so none of this could ever be used for operations to begin with.
Okay.
If you were to borrow the money and not use it all, then at some point in time, you can come back to the legislative body and say, listen, we want to do a roof project now, we want to do an HVA project now, but it has to be capital.
The reason I'm saying that is because we had about 30 days between the time it went from 7.1 to $11 million. That was where it was actually at. And, I mean, that's a huge mistake somewhere. And I want to make sure that all the taxpayers are getting their money's worth, and we're not going to have to repair the sewer plant at Midway again.
Well, I mean, all of these are estimates by professional engineers or other people who are providing estimates, and you really don't know the cost of anything until you do a formal bid process.
Yeah.
And then even that, you can get into some unknowns with construction, so.
Commissioner Moore.
When I went to school, Oliver Springs was a big school. I went to Midway. I was the 13th man on the team, and I had to wear a pair of yellow football pants. So I'm telling you, I know how it was to be poor and be small, okay? I made it, I can operate this thing here now, okay? So I went on down the road when I graduated down there. So, personal reasons, I haven't been able to be here a whole lot in some of the schools. I've got a problem being 50-something% off on an estimate. I don't care who it is. If I did my business that way at work, I would have to go get another job somewhere, okay? So, I'm for you. I may abstain because of lack of knowledge or whatever. Midway, we've got problems, we've had problems for 20 years down there, and it seemed never to bother anybody, so we could lump it with something else. And give me 500 and give 10.5 million somewhere else. I'm for you. I'll get 12, it's fine for me, but I don't think I'll jump into that hole for that $500,000. I've got just a problem with it. I ain't got a problem with school. We never could beat you, by the way. Whatever it is in football. Jerry Chris and that, they messed it all up for us back then. But, I always felt like we had a little kinship, being away from everybody else. It was all Kingston and Roane County or whatever. We were the stepchild. We were the stepchildren. Y'all were at least a little closer to civilization than we were. So, I hope it makes us round, okay? I'm not looking for an excuse. I just kind of got a problem. The way we got the money, it ain't about taxes or whatever. And I know Mr. Wood went down there, he came whenever, later on in years, they had a lot of new things back then. But I've always said, and I'm not campaigning, okay? I won't ever bid for consolidation school in my lifetime, in my term. This will be my third term. Never have been, never will be. Prove my fact. 200 Midway right now in Oliver Springs probably got the best stores anywhere in the country. I know some great people that can send their kids anywhere, and some of them go to Midway. They take them down there. That's what I know about it, okay? So I think the quality of education is, I don't know, I'm not a Baptist preacher, I go to a Baptist church, and I know one. But that's a problem we've got since we're on this school, is that we've gotten lost. There's no absolutes anywhere. And I've said before, this Madeline Mary O'Hara went back there down in Texas years ago and took prayer and Bible and anything. No wonder our jails are full over here, and the problem, you know, and the school shouldn't raise our children about church either. But y'all be exposed to it. Doesn't hurt a thing, okay?
That's right.
You can see why we've got our jails full now with the generation that came along after they took all that out. So, I don't know if it had anything to do much with the school, but I think the bigger you get, the bigger the problem you got. I'll always feel that way. I'm too old to kind of change my mind. They say a fool will never change his mind, but that's one thing that I truly believe in. I've got some fellow commissioners that I think the world of. We just see different ways about that. So, but I say all that to say that from my personal perspective, I hope it passes for you. That's all I'm saying tonight. So thank you very much. I'm not politicking somebody for or against, just making a statement, okay?
Thank you, Commissioner Morgan. Commissioner Berry.
There's probably not a community their size that supports not only the academic side, but I've watched and listened to the mayor for years, enthusiastically, top row, under the press box. They probably sent as good as or better school board members than anyone else served with Dr. Smith. As you heard tonight, very eloquent. Always had students first. Sam Cox has done as much for our school board as anyone. I want to go back to, and I'm not sure we ever received a resolution from the school boards about Oliver Springs and Midway, right? That came from the commission. We took that up, right?
I'll pull it up.
We received a letter.
That was part of the first phase was Oliver Springs, Midway, and the new school. We came back a couple of months later and picked the Oliver Springs and Midway portions out of that. Is that not correct?
That's basically, we received a spreadsheet, said,
Right.
these are the projects we want. And we decided.
Well, but that was all under a phase one.
Well, the budget committee debated this, is like, this is a big buy.
Okay.
This is a lot of money. Should we do this in phases to help our taxpayers out and to show some success?
But that didn't
We
come
were needing some
but that didn't come
success.
from the school board.
Pardon?
That didn't come from the school board.
Well, it shows
well-
on January 28, 2019, partial plan approved, 12 of 2018, Oliver Springs High School, $5,373, Midway High School water treatment plant.
I understand that, but that didn't
That
come
was
from
the
the school
partial
board.
plan approved from the Roane County School Board.
I think that came from, I know you wasn't here.
Roane County Schools, Dr. Gary Yates, Director.
We did approve that.
Okay, so I think what concerns me is Oliver Springs commissioners had a chance to keep Oliver Springs schools open and voted not to because of the phase. What's even more alarming now is at our workshop, I think they asked you, Commissioner Gann, you asked them about the guarantee, would they not close Oliver Springs? They said yes. Then they asked you, could you support a building program? And you said no.
Correct.
So what that tells me is, let's do Oliver Springs, let's don't worry about Rockwood, Kingston, and the other. Because if we're really truly looking at Roane County and being proud to be from Roane County, then let's do the whole county. The other thing is if you go back from 2015 till this morning, Oliver Springs enrollment has dropped from 429 to 269. Freshman class, 64. So that's the smallest of the 4 classes that are currently in Oliver Springs.
Mr. Berry, for quick record, could you tell me where you got those numbers from?
I called the school board.
Okay, so they did come from the
Board this
school board?
morning, and that came,
Okay, thank you.
that's their number. So, we're talking about over $7 million for 269 kids. Oliver Springs community came through as you expected them to do, with their money. Again, Dr. Smith saw the need not only for a STEM school, but it was perfect timing to get that done, and they raised their money. So, I guess my problem is the fact that we're signaling Roane, Oliver Springs, and have commissioners who are not with, and I say commissioners, I'm sorry, Commissioner White has not spoken to it, Commissioner Bowers has not spoken to whether they would support the rest of them or not. But I guess I would like to yield to the director of schools. If this passes tonight, where are we from the school standpoint? I know you can't speak.
Yeah, I don't think I can speak for the school board. They would just have to get together and reevaluate and, I don't know.
And I can't speak for the school board, but I assume that after we left the workshop, as we went around the table, there were several of us that said we could support 2 schools. They knew the resolution was coming up tonight because our 60 days was up. So I'm assuming that's why they voted on the resolution for 2 schools when they did. That was the only chance they were going to get. So once again, if we vote on this tonight and it passes, then we've set the stage for education in Roane County for a long, long time. Rockwood High School down 21% over that same period of time. Harriman is plus 10%. Midway's about 20%. So we're down. We're down across the county. We still have the same condition of buildings that we've had for years. We know that there are schools that have to be replaced. We know that Ridgeview Elementary, that Harriman Middle, that Roane County High School, all are in such shape that something has to be done. The school board, part of that process that they went through, identified how you can move the other schools into some of our existing schools and build one. Taxpayers, if we have the taxpayers at mind and they're, what we're doing in terms of, our biggest obligation as commissioners is to take care of and be good stewards of our money. And if you feel like this is the best taking care of our money, then fine. But I think we are setting the stage tonight for many, many years of education, not just for Oliver Springs students. We're setting the stage tonight for every child in this county moving forward, because this is going to affect. This has a domino effect on every child in this county. So I guess when I heard that a guarantee for Oliver Springs, but I can't vote for another plan, that's made my vote tonight easy, because I can't let the other students in Roane County go without. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Gann.
Point of order, Mr.
Hold on one second. Mr. Gann.
This is Madam Commissioner Cunningham.
Chairman, excuse me. I apologize.
Commissioner Gann.
Sorry to stand, I don't mean to stand by, having a little bit of problem with my leg. I'd like to address what Mr. Berry said, I'd like to clarify just a little bit. We did have a meeting with the school board. One of the school board members said, hey, I can support Oliver Springs. Will you turn around and support the Salt Lake School, my plan? And somebody said, well, you know, something about Brillis School. I said, well, it's not Brillis School. So my statement, to clarify, was this. As a commissioner of the 3rd District, I will speak for my constituents. My constituents, the majority, says they do not want a consolidated school. They want Oliver Springs to remain open. They want Midway to remain open. Then I also speak for Roane County because I'm not just a commissioner for the 3rd District of Roane County. I'm also a commissioner of Roane County, Mr. Berry. So I told the school board member no, because I said I also speak as commissioner from Roane County, being the majority of the folks I spoke to from Roane County do not support the consolidation of the school. I'm going to tell on this gentleman something really quick. Mr. Hester has a website. Y'all need to go to it. I thought he was smart enough to set it up, but I think it was his niece. He has a poll on there that says options for voting, yes and no. Option 1, option 2, yes is for, no is option 2, I believe. 84% of the people, and you can go look, Shannon Hester, Commissioner, 84% of the people are not for the consolidated school. We keep going on about debating this consolidated school, and I think there's probably 20% of Roane County who wants it. Why are we doing it? The one school is going to cost $65 million, right? Is that what our projected cost is? That's projected. You do home loans, right? Everybody wants to build that house for $50,000, right? It costs them $150,000 when they finish it, right? Mr. Berry, you do insurance? You understand the cost. If one school is going to be $65 million, how much is 2 schools? 100 million, is that what we're projecting? 100 million? So let's put 150 million. You can't afford, we're arguing here, and we have worried about taxes for $3.9 million, but yet we're like, okay, well, it's $100 million. You know, we're in trouble over here at Roane County. Mr. Phillips back here is working really hard. They're in trouble over here at Roane County Jail, and we're arguing. We worked 6 months on a jail plan, Mr. Hooks. You worked really hard, proud of it. For $22 million, and that wasn't good enough. We cut it from 40 to 22. Now we're losing, and I don't know, I'm not good with numbers, sorry about it, but we're losing $2.6 million a year. It's costing us up, states out $2.6 million a year because of prisoners. Somehow it works out. Believe me, it's $2.6 million, a lot of money. And we're still going to build a jail. We're still going to build a jail. But you can't afford $65 million, Junior, for one, but now we can build 2. The school board, Mr. Berry, they said, hey, here's what we want to do. Consolidate, we want to keep Oliver Springs, we want to keep Midway, and we're going to consolidate. So you know what? Somehow or another came out, we said, okay, we'll go ahead and start on Midway, or on Oliver Springs, and on Midway. Mr. Moore said just a while back, the last county commission, you know what, and he's right. Where was Midway's help when they needed it? Where was Midway's help when they needed it? I wish Midway would have done what Oliver Springs done. I apologize. I wish Midway would have done what Oliver Springs done and came to the meetings. I really do. They still want help today. But they still want it. I'm on an agriculture committee meet with some folks from Midway, good people. And you know what they asked us at the last one? Mr. Hester can tell you, Mr. Hooks can tell you. Are you going to help us? Are you going to help us? Yeah, we're going to help you. It's your tax dollar. We're not helping you. You're helping yourself. You're paying your taxes. You ought to get your help. You know, I'm not giving you money. You're paying your taxes, Junior. You're helping yourself. So, I apologize. I get irritated sometimes, and my wife says I should, and I should, because when I do, I say things I don't always know. But we need to quit this. We just need to quit it. The wheel tax, the gentleman, sir, you're right, the wheel tax did not pass. People said then they didn't want it or they didn't want to pay for it. If you want something, you'll pay for it, right, Mr. Woody? I mean, if I want something, I buy it, I pay for it. People are not willing to pay for this holiday school. They don't want it. Oliver Springs is willing to keep their school open, Ben. They're paying for it. They're saving money, Darrell. If you want it, save your money. If you want it, work for it. People are not. I understand this probably throws a loop in Roane County schools planning to build a consolidated school. But the people of Roane County don't want it. I mean, I don't want to be rude here and say, everybody in the courtroom, hold your hand up if y'all want to consolidate school. I won't say that, but if you want to raise your hand, for those who want to consolidate school, please do.
We want to consolidate school?
Huh?
We want to consolidate?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's less than the percentage that Mr. Hester has on his webpage. Thank you, Mike.
Mr. Wilson.
Yeah, I'll make mine real quick. I'll tell you where I'm trying to deal with here. And you're looking at the graphics of where Oliver Springs and Midway lie, and we're talking about travel time. I've always been a proponent of the two schools when we were talking about this, and then when I think, somebody help me here, when I think about how powerful you put Midway, their education program, Oliver Springs out the roof, and Kingston together in this CTE program, I think, are we better in Roane County? I mean, are we gonna just literally just do so good in Harriman Rock with going through maybe the K-14 or whatever through Run State in that area? I don't know. So that's what I'm struggling with. I struggle with the dollars and cents. But somebody funnel me back in here of how that money exactly is going to be used at Oliver Springs, because when he was talking about the distinguished gentleman here that was talking about you had the extra room down there, how much that incorporates that in our plan, and is that extra money, or this money is to build on for what? I'm just kind of confused. I'm lost in the fog. There's your plug. Yeah. Just a little bit. Yeah,
Let me
please.
get you out of the fog there.
Yeah.
So the plan is, as it's been brought to us, when Dilla Springs was built, then your K-5 went to the Dilla Springs. So where they were at, it was a K-8 facility, and now it's a 6, 7, and 8. So you're about, I think, correctly, about 35% capacity. So that is a much newer facility than the wood structure, or predominantly wood structure of Oliver Springs High School.
Right.
So when they started evaluating the Oliver Springs High School, the wood structure, you've been up there, the wood structure, part of it is the gym. So the construction that's needed to retrofit somewhat the middle school to a high school seems like there's a chemistry labs in there, there's some CTE programs in there, there's a gym in there. And then you have to go back, the way I understand the plan, then you'll have to raise part of the old school with the wood structure. Property still needs to be in the school's name because it's contiguous. You still have to have a football field, you still need, all that facility. So the money is in, you have to rebuild or really retrofit the kitchen area now because it apparently is inadequate also. So I think what you're looking at on this $9.5, $9.6 million total of Oliver Springs is gyms, some CTE classes, maybe some of the little administration in there, maybe a chemistry room, and the kitchen cafeteria area. So I think that's where the bulk of that project is. Did that answer the part of the
It
question?
does. You know, when you start talking, it gets tweaked so much and talking about.
But the big part is the school that's up there now, the newer part of it, the elementary school, middle school, the elementary school went to the new Dilla Springs.
Okay.
Yeah, just as an aside, when we were looking at the entire package of the savings from an economic standpoint, the bulk of the savings was at the closing of Auburn Springs High School and making it the middle school and high school together. I mean, during this consolidation project, when you had Midway and Auburn Springs there, you had one new consolidated school. I think the total savings was about $1 million, $1.2 million. About $800,000 seemed like it was just right at Auburn Springs. Because it dealt with, you have a high school administration now with staff, secretary, principal, assistant principal. You have a middle school there. That's what gets consolidated in part of this. So the operational savings dealt with those type of staffs. Of course, and you may lose some of that, as Mr. Moore said, or someone said, if you add, additional teachers.
Yeah.
Commissioner Hickman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I just want to say that from the onset of this, whenever the whole plan was presented to us, I was very, very proud of Oliver Springs. I was very jealous of Oliver Springs. You guys banded together as a community and put together a good plan. I do have some reserves, like Commissioner Moore. The whole time Midway's getting the sewer plant. And I don't see how that's going to help those students, but I want to go back to what I said whenever the plan was presented to us the first time. Share a story whenever I was on Harriman City Council. And we went to a 9 counties, 1 vision in Knoxville. And they told us to imagine the possibilities. And all day today when I've been at work thinking about this issue, about Oliver Springs combining their middle school and high school, I've been imagining those students. I was a basketball coach at Harriman Middle School for 5 years. In that time I knew a lot of the Oliver Springs middle school boys. I had the pleasure to coach some of them on some travel ball teams. I think it's a great plan. I think you're going to start seeing those students, if this plan is passed, be better equipped for today's working economy. I think those kids are going to be ready to go into the workforce, and it should make all of us from the other districts a little more motivated. So I'm going to challenge my counterparts, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Henderson. We need to get together, go back to the Harriman City Council, City Mayor, see if we can band together for a plan. But I want to talk about the reason that I delayed the vote from last time. I wanted direction from the school board. I knew that this was just a part of the whole, and that I agree with Mr. Berry, we picked out the pieces. I believe that we're all, city, county commission, and school board, I think we're all playing politics. We need to stop playing politics and do what's right for the students of Roane County. Oliver Springs is here ready for a plan, whether we think that Harriman, Rockwood, Kingston's gonna get something on the back end. Oliver Springs is ready right now. I'm ready to vote for this plan right now. There's not been a lot of action. I've been a commissioner for over a year. Not been a lot of action. We voted to push things back. It's time for us to start putting action. We had a meeting and joint workshop with the school board. I went there for direction from them. I felt like they were looking for direction from us. They did pass a resolution to close all 5 schools and to combine them to 2. But like in the paper, Mr. Woody said, we communicate through our minutes. I don't know that if we pass this tonight, that they won't use the money and say, we don't want the money, we're gonna stick with the 2 resolutions. Maybe that's a legal question. Do they have the ability to do that? If we pass this, 11 million.
We control the money that was distributed to the schools.
Right, so if you're passing it for this, all of this one Oliver Spring project, that's what it has to be used for. But if the school board says that this is not a part of their plan,
They do not have to build.
they do not have to build there. They don't have to build.
But they can't use the money in any way else, any other way.
They can't use the money, so it will just sit there. So I think we have got, a lot of us wearing multiple hats. But we can't wear the hat of school board. All we have to do is be commissioners. Do we have the money to pass this tonight? We have a debt service plan. County executive said we have the money to pay for this. And we have some left over. I think it's a great plan, and I'll support it tonight.
Mr. Chairman,
call for question.
Okay, I got a quick call for question on the floor. Got a second by Commissioner Moore. So we'll take a vote right quick and call the question. Call for question. What this will do is just cut debate off and we'll move on to resolution, voting it up or down. I believe I can do this. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign.
No.
Record record as one, so call for question has been made. So now we're on resolution 091914A, an initial resolution authorizing the issuance of not to exceed $3,900,000 general obligation bond for Roane County, Tennessee. And just to clarify, Mr. Woody, a yes vote on this would go ahead and appropriate the rest of the money to finish the Oliver Springs project.
That is correct.
Okay. Is everybody clear? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Barry,
No.
Rushiers,
Yes.
Cunningham,
Yes.
East,
Yes.
Ellis,
Yes.
Gann,
Yes.
Hendrickson,
Yes.
Hester,
Yes.
Hickman,
Yes.
Hooks,
Yes.
Meadows,
No.
Moore,
Abstain.
White,
Yes.
Wilson.
Yes.
Thank you.
11 yes, 2 no, 1 pass.
Resolution 91914A is adopted. Let's issue the general obligation for it right quick. Resolution 91914B, a resolution authorizing the issuance of general obligation bonds of Roane County, Tennessee in the aggregate principal amount not to exceed $3.9 million in one or more series, making provisions for the issuance, sale, payment of said bonds, establishing the terms therefore and the disposition and proceeds therefrom, and providing for the levy of taxes for the payment of principal of premium, if any, and interest on the bonds. Motion by Commissioner Hooks, second by Commissioner Shears. Commissioner Hooks.
Nothing further.
Commissioner Shears.
Go Students.
Any other questions or comments? As explained before, this goes in hand, as the county executive says. If we authorize the issuance, we've got to come down here to issue. Any more questions or comments? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Barry,
No.
Rushiers,
Yes.
Cunningham,
Yes.
East,
Yes.
Ellis,
Yes.
Gann,
Yes.
Hendrickson,
Yes.
Hester,
Yes.
Hickman,
Yes.
Hooks,
Yes.
Meadows,
No.
Moore,
Abstain.
White,
Yes.
Wilson.
Yes.
11 yes, 2 no, 1 pass.
Resolution 91914B is adopted. Move along, still under old business, we have resolution 91915A, initial resolution authorizing the issuance of not to exceed $1 million general obligated bonds of Roane County, Tennessee. Motion by Commissioner White, second by Commissioner Meadows. Commissioner White.
Yield to Mr. Woody.
So if we could have a friendly amendment on this to, as we adopt this, rescind resolution 09-1916.
So that resolution to,
If we could do that at the same time. So what we were at is, we had bond resolutions. If we could borrow money on bonds, we're better than borrowing on notes. The jail project last month, we borrowed them on the note, but we really want to bring that into the bond. So we want to really rescind the note resolution and then approve the bond
so if I
resolution.
get a resolution to rescind, what was that again?
09-1916. It was a resolution regarding capital outlay.
Motion to rescind 9/1916 by Commissioner White, second by Commissioner Cunningham. Commissioner White,
I think we've been educated on this.
Commissioner Cunningham. Any other questions or comment on the rescind?
You saying 60 or 50?
1916, 1916. 9/1916.
09-1916.
09/1916.
So let me go back. So when we had this discussion, we would much rather borrow under bonds than borrowing under notes. But we also recognized that we did not want to do a bond for just $1 million. So since we have approved this $3.9 million school one, we want to tag on this other $1 million so we're not having to borrow it under the note that we approved last month. We have not borrowed the money under the note yet. So what we want to do is say, no, we're going to rescind it, we're going to come back and we're going to approve it right here so we can have a bond. Saves you a lot of money.
Mr. Barrett.
And this million is,
Is that same million we approved last month for the jail.
Any other questions or comments?
that's gonna linger until we figure out what to do with it.
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
Any more questions or comment on rescinding 09/1916? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. So that's been rescinded. So now we're back on resolution 9/1915A. Motion by Commissioner White, second by Commissioner Meadows. Commissioner White.
Nothing to add.
Commissioner Meadows.
Mr. Wood, do you like to add anything else to this as to the proceed, where the proceeds go? Okay, let's go.
More questions or comments? Mr. Berry.
And this is the money that's set aside and will come back to the commission as we choose how to spend it.
As we choose the direction of the first phase of the jail, of the second phase of the jail.
Thank you.
Any more questions or comments? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Barry,
Yes.
Rushiers,
Yes.
Cunningham,
Yes.
East,
Yes.
Ellis.
Yes.
Ham,
Yes.
Henderson,
Yes.
Hester,
Yes.
Hickman,
Yes.
Cook,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Moore,
No.
White,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
14 yes.
Resolution 9/1915A is adopted. Resolution 9/1915B, a resolution authorizing the issuance of general obligation bonds of Roane County, Tennessee in the aggregate principal amount not to exceed $1 million in one or more series, making provision for the issuance, sale, and payment of said bonds, establishing the term therefore and disposition of proceeds therefrom, and providing for the levy of taxes for the payment of principal of premium and any and interest of the bonds. Motion by Commissioner Hooks, second by Commissioner Meadows. Commissioner Hooks.
Nothing further.
Commissioner Meadows.
Nothing to add.
Any questions or comments? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Barry,
Yes.
Rushiers,
Yes.
Cunningham. Yes. East,
Yes.
Ellis,
Yes.
Ham,
Yes.
Henderson,
Yeah.
Hester,
Yes.
Hickman,
Yes.
Cooks,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
13 yes, 1 no.
Resolution 9/1915B is adopted. I've been asked right quick to take a 5-minute recess. Let's go ahead and move along to new business. Resolution 12/1901. Resolution authorizing the county attorney to file lawsuits against each property owner regarding the properties as listed on attached case request form by violating Roane County Resolution number 2101, April 2013, regarding Roane County zoning regulations and/or Resolution 011403 regarding open education accumulated degree. Debris, excuse me. Commissioner Meadows.
Motion to approve.
Commissioner Hester.
Nothing false.
Commissioner Cofer.
Commissioner Coker?
Commissioner Cofer.
Would like to have get an amendment on this one. Case number 3, we have got some work today from the property owner that if we would just give them another 30 days, they'll get these things, cars out of this piece of property. So,
Would someone like to make an amendment by Commissioner Hooks, second by Commissioner Hester?
Can I take that amendment into my motion?
Take that a friendly amendment.
I accept it.
Are you okay with that?
I'm okay with that.
You okay with that, Mr. Hooks? Anything else, Mr. Cofer, with that resolution? Any questions for Mr. Cofer on Resolution 12-1901? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Just to clarify, we voted on the amendment.
We're voted and who is a friendly amendment, so.
Thank you. Barry?
Yep.
Brashear?
Yes.
Cunningham? Yes. East?
Yes.
Ellis?
Yes.
Gann?
Yes.
Hendrickson?
Yes.
Hester?
Yes.
Hickman?
Yes.
Cooks?
Yes.
Meadows?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Wilson?
Yes.
14 yes.
Resolution 12-1901 is adopted. Resolution 12-1902, a resolution authorizing the county attorney to file lawsuit regarding the properties as listed on attached case request form by violating Roane County Resolution 12-1805 and/or Resolution 12-1806 regarding the 2018 International Building Codes and the 2018 International Residential Codes.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Meadows, second by Commissioner Hickman. Commissioner Meadows.
Mr. Coker?
if anybody has any questions, I'll be glad to try and answer them for you.
Commissioner Hickman.
Nothing but.
Any more questions or comments? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Barry?
Yes.
Brashear?
Yes.
Cunningham? Yes. East?
Yes.
Ellis?
Yes.
Gann?
Yes.
Hendrickson?
Yes.
Hester?
Yes.
Hickman?
Yes.
Yes. Meadows?
Yes.
Moore? White?
Yes.
Wilson?
Yes.
14 yes.
Resolution 12-1902 is adopted. Resolution 12-1903, a resolution to place in surplus certain Roane County vehicles is listed on the attached sheet dated November 26, 2019, and entitled Surplus Vehicles. Motion by Commissioner East, second by Commissioner Hooks. Commissioner East.
This has been for the proper committee and all of it passed.
Commissioner Hooks.
I'm good with it.
Any other commissioners? As Commissioner Kelly would say, the ones that's been around, if we don't need it, get rid of it. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Barry?
Yes.
Brashear?
Yes.
Cunningham? Yes. East?
Yes.
Ellis?
Yes.
Gann?
Yes.
Hendrickson?
Yes.
Hester?
Yes.
Hickman?
Yes.
Cooks?
Yes.
Meadows?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Wilson?
Yes.
14 yes.
Resolution 12-1903 is adopted. Resolution 12-1904, a resolution asking the legislature to consider school superintendent's positions becoming elected positions. Motion by Commissioner Brashears, second by Commissioner Hendrickson. Commissioner Brashears.
Yes, I put this thing in the thing. It's not anything against Ms. McFalls. It's just the idea that when I was running for election in the early voting, talking about swamp over consolidated schools and the appointment of the school superintendent is the reason I put this in, because the majority of the people that I talked to, very few of them wanted anything other than to elect like it used to be.
Commissioner Hendrickson.
Yeah, I've had many constituents inside my district and out that has expressed, they wish that we would do something such as this, so I'm in support of it.
And just to clarify, this voting for this don't mean we're going to have elected director of schools. This is just asking the legislature to look at doing that. Commissioner Meadows.
A couple of things. Has this been before our legislative committee? No. Would it not be proper for it to come before the legislative committee before coming year?
You want to make that motion?
Yes.
Commissioner Meadows makes a motion to send resolution 12-1904 to the legislative committee.
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Hendrickson. Commissioner Meadows on sending it to the legislative committee. Anything?
No, I just think it needs, if we're going to require everything else go through the committees that they're pertaining to, then we need to do this one as well.
Commissioner Hendrickson.
Nothing further, I totally agree.
Anyone else on sending this resolution to the legislative committee?
Well, point of order, Mr. Chairman, where we at, his resolution was on the table. He's asking to move.
Send it to.
So do we rescind his resolution?
No, that would, we would go ahead and move forward.
Amendment.
He made the amendment to send it to the legislative
I'll
committee,
put that as an
correct?
amendment.
And Junior seconded it.
Okay.
Any more questions or comments?
Yeah.
You good? Okay. A yes vote would send this to the legislative committee for review, then back here. A no vote would be back on the resolution. Madam Clerk.
Barry,
The amendment? Yes.
Rushiers,
Yes.
Cunningham,
Yes.
East,
Yes.
Ellis.
Yes.
Gann,
Yes.
Henderson,
Yes.
Hester,
Yes.
Hickman,
Yes.
Cooks,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Wilson.
Yes.
14 yes.
Resolution 12-1904 is sent to the legislative committee. Resolution 12-1905, a resolution amending the general purpose school fund 141 reflecting changes in revenue expenditure estimates for the 2019-2020 fiscal year. Motion by Commissioner Moore, second by Commissioner Meadows. Commissioner Moore.
I yield to our county executive, please, for a little clarification.
So this did go to the budget committee, and it is recommended by the budget committee. It deals with predominantly two grants that are increasing revenue, 163,000. It's moving a small amount of money around, and then it's putting 128,000, almost 129,000 into some maintenance equipment. So predominantly grants and some movement of no, there's no increase in what would be maintenance of effort of property tax.
Mr. Meadows.
Yeah, it's just basically clean up resolution. Would that be a good way to put it? Yeah. Nothing else.
Any other questions or comments from the other commissioners? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Barry,
Yes.
Rushiers,
Yes.
Cunningham,
Yes.
East,
Yes.
Ellis.
Yes.
Gann,
Yes.
Henderson,
Yes.
Hester,
Yes.
Hickman,
Yes.
Cooks,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
14 yes.
Resolution 12-1905 is adopted. Resolution 12-1906, a resolution establishing the committee of the Roane County Commission for the period of January 1st, 2020 to December 31st, 2020. Motion by Commissioner Hendrickson, second by Commissioner Moore. I want to, right quick, I want to thank the committee on committees that's worked hard. I think it's Commissioner Meadows, Commissioner Hendrickson, Commissioner White, Commissioner East, I believe, and Commissioner Hooks. If I left anybody out. If you're not served on the committee on committees, you know that could be a pretty daunting task trying to get everybody where they need to be.
I appreciate the committee's work.
Commissioner Moore. Commissioner Hendrickson.
Just appreciate the
I'll tell
hard
you,
work we put into it.
I tell you how well I like it whenever I see the committee list, how many they got me on.
Any other questions or comments?
This is my first time serving on the committee, and I can assure everyone there's a whole lot of time and effort put in. Mainly put people, have everybody represented where they want to be and when they're in where they their length, their strengths lie. So I'm very satisfied with the outcome.
Any more questions or comments? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Barry,
Yes.
Rushiers,
Yes.
Cunningham,
Yes.
East,
Yes.
Ellis.
Yes.
Gann,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Hester,
Yes.
Hickman,
Yes.
Brooks,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
14 yes.
Resolution 12-1906 is adopted. Resolution 12-1907, a resolution encouraging the support of legislation which directs TennCare to reimburse ground ambulance providers at a rate not less than the current Medicare fee schedule, adding funding to the 2021 state budget. Commissioner Moore, Commissioner, second by Commissioner Wilson. Dudley's got my names mixed up, so it's hard to say. Go ahead, Mr. Moore.
Kind of good.
Yeah, so Tim Sutter's here, he's our ambulance director. I think this is one we pass every year, is this a similar one we pass every year? We're basically trying to get the highest rates we can from Medicare through the TennCare program. And let me go first, Mr. Sugar.
We really struggle with our reimbursement from TennCare. It's very, very low. We receive about, depending on emergency or non-emergency status, anywhere from $116 to $163 for each of those transports. Our usual and customary rates are significantly higher than that. What the legislation is being asked at this point is to reimburse at 70% of our Medicare allowable. So it's still less than our full price. It's less than what we charge our Medicare, or what we receive from our Medicare patients. But it's a significant amount of increase from where we're at now. It would take us, on average, from about anywhere in the neighborhood of $150 for a given transport, up to as much as $420, and that is from a TennCare payer. So when we bill a TennCare patient, we bill TennCare, and then we are forced to write the remainder of that account off, so there is no impact to the actual client.
Commissioner Moore.
I'm good with that, and while he's up there, I would like to thank him for his personal service and my personal situation with my mom who came down and helped us out, and so I thank you for what you do. Not many guys drive up in the ambulance and jump out and help you move somebody around. Thank you, Tim, I appreciate that.
I'm very familiar myself.
You good?
And then Mr. Moore. Any more questions or comments?
Just, Tim, do you have any kind of estimate as to the revenue?
We transport about, just right at about 1,000 TennCare patients a year. So this is going to double our revenue than that. It's, just some rough numbers I looked at today. I mean, it'd be about $100,000 an impact to us.
So that's 100,000 that patients aren't charged you, so that's real good.
We really struggle with TennCare because, if we transport a non-emergency patient out of a facility, that facility has to get us our authorization. We're not allowed to pre-authorize that. If we don't get that pre-authorization, we don't get paid. So we really struggle with our TennCare revenue anyway.
Do you have an estimate of how much we write off?
I don't off the top of my head, it's significant.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Barry,
Yes.
Rushier,
Yes.
East,
Yes.
Ellis,
Yes.
Gann,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Hester,
Yes.
Hickman,
Yes.
Brooks,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Wilson. Wilson,
Yes.
14 yes.
Resolution 12-1907 is adopted. Resolution 12-1908, a resolution to amend the dental function in the General Fund 101 that states final amendment to the DGA grant that reflects bonus pay approval to the replace Resolution 9913. Motion by Commissioner Meadows, second by Commissioner Hester. Commissioner Meadows.
Mr. Woody?
Yes, this was the Budget Committee, it is recommended by the Budget Committee. As you are aware, the Roane County Health Department, part of those employees down there are state employees, the other part of those are county employees. The county employees come to us by and large through a grant. This is a grant that they follow the same kind of pay that we do on the bonuses that we gave this year instead of raises. And so this is just adjusting that grant to what the actual grant dollars were and allowing those raises to be implemented with those employees like the rest of our county employees.
Any more questions or comments? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Terry?
Yes.
Rushier?
Yes.
Cunningham?
Yes.
Anderson? Dan?
Yes.
Henderson?
Yes.
Astor?
Yes.
Hickman?
Yes.
Hooks?
Yes.
Meadows?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Wilson?
Yes.
14 yes.
Resolution 12-1908 is adopted. Move on to Resolution 12-1909, a resolution reflecting the annual cost of losing state TDOC inmates and contracting out inmates and adjusting the current budget to reflect protracted impacts. Commissioner Meadows, second by Commissioner Wilson. Commissioner Meadows.
This is something that was studied by the Budget Committee, and it reflects the cost of transferring the inmates out. But I would also, first, I'd like to substitute resolution that was on our desk. That's Resolution 12-9-09 for this resolution. And for that, I'll go with Ms. Cook or Mr. Woody for further explanation. I guess once we get a second.
I got a second already by Commissioner Wilson. Would you take this substitute resolution with your second?
Yes.
So we're substituting, if you pull out your paper that Ms. Cook handed out to us, Resolution 12-1909, substitute. Will be on the, so we're looking at this one instead of the one that was already on there. Everybody got it? First one. Who wants to start explaining?
So let me explain it real quick. So we put in these resolutions those annual estimated costs because of the jail situation we're in. So that's the kind of the first box that you saw in the regular resolution and the substituted resolution. What's been adopted is the second page, which is the prorated cost. When the Budget Committee studied this, and after we met with TCI, and after we saw what was happening in the judicial system and the jail, the Budget Committee was not recommending that we reflect that we'll be contracting out any of our inmates to other facilities. So that's what it amounted to. We showed the cost as if, one, we lost all TDOC inmates, and we have to contract our inmates to other county facilities. The Budget Committee decided we don't want to reflect that because we're doing such a good job of getting the inmate count down that we do not want to, at this time, reflect the cost of doing any contracts out. We are not doing any contracts out. We hope we don't have to do any contracts out. If we have to, we'll have to come back with another resolution. Now, it is a real loss of revenue of the TDOC. We have 10 or 12 TDOC today. They fluctuate. 19. We had 19. We were up as high as probably 50. 70. So that is a real loss of revenue. We will lose $400,000 of our estimate. So this comes to the commission with a recommendation from the Budget Committee to adopt the substitute resolution.
Back to Commissioner Meadows.
Now, there has been some talk about getting all TDOC out of the jail, but that's impractical, right, because of split sentences?
It's part of it split
I mean, it's never going to happen, correct?
See, everybody that's out we sit 10 this morning, I think 7 males, 3 females. We've got more females out of jail the last 3 weeks than we have in the entire 14 years I've been at the sheriff's office. So the 19 that I talk about are the split confinement ones that are sentenced to 180 days, 120 days, 90 days. The prison just will not take them. They'll still pay us for it, but they're not going to take them.
We'll always have.
We will always have them. And and keep in mind, we have people that are there as TDOC in waiting. They're just waiting for their day in court, and they're waiting to either be found innocent or guilty. Once they're found guilty, they're TDOC inmates. So it's a revolving door. We're always gonna have them, and some weeks we'll just have more than others.
But if it's our jail, why are they forcing us to house it?
Well, they're not forced. So here's what happens when you get arrested. You do come to our jail. You have a chance to make bond, and there's other ways that you can get out. And once you come to court and you're found guilty or you plead guilty, whatever the case is, and it's a felony and it's and you're sentenced to TDOC time, you're in our jail. You're going to be there until the state says, "Hey, we've got 3 beds, 2 beds, or one of 95 counties." So whenever the bed availability comes open, everybody's in the same boat. Everybody's overcrowded. So they start contacting the different jails, and the state's been really good with working with us. So they'll come get. They don't come get them. They call us. Say, "We got 3 beds at Bledsoe. We got 3 beds northeast." Wherever they go, we just travel. So it's not. That's, I mean, they become TDOC while they're in our custody.
So even though we lose revenue, we can't adjust salaries or anything because it's fluctuating every day.
What do you mean change salaries for what?
You still gotta be there, right?
For guards and all of that stuff.
Oh, yeah, that's a static cost when you figure out what
The hotel's still open.
Yeah. and-
Whether we have anybody renting rooms or not, the hotel's still open.
Any more questions?
Tim, what's our count today? We were at 340 something 30 days ago, so.
We're at 207 when I come over here. We're at 207, 51, but here's the thing. The judges, the DAs, all the stakeholders, you came to the meeting, got together, and I think they've done a fabulous job getting these folks out, but here's the thing. How are you gonna keep them? They have let they've let over 100 people out. So there again, we've got to ask ourselves, why do they keep coming back and how do we keep them out? That's the key to this whole thing. So you can turn 120 loose.
Well, and that was, the state admitted 82% of our inmates are recidivism.
It's as high as anybody. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, so our goal is to try to keep them out.
Hotel's open. We leave the light on for you, Junior.
I just wanted to interject right quick. Chief Phillips, Chief Hahn, the sheriff, myself, Commissioner Wilson, Commissioner Meadows, and Executive Woody went down to TCI Wednesday. If you think that we've got a problem, we stood in line for probably an hour and a half before they got to our problem. This isn't a Roane County issue. Commissioner Hooks.
I did, and I want to commend you all for working, and to get those numbers down like that, somebody had to put in some time to do it. And it was a strategy that, and bringing all the players to the table. And I want to commend you all. But going back to the ankle bracelets, everybody wants to talk about ankle bracelets. I'm the executive director of Roane County 911. In Harriman, we've got a person on ankle bracelets that they have to haul back to jail every day because he's threatening someone's life. He's threatening to kill himself every day, and he's on ankle bracelets. So when they
Does his last
violate,
name start with a L?
yes,
He called me this morning, left me a real nice message.
did he want to kill his parents? So that's just one of many. When you're in violation, you got to put them somewhere. Can't leave them out there.
Commissioner Meadows.
Well, in that case, probably shouldn't be on ankle bracelets to begin with, you know, and hopefully they're not any longer. But for full disclosure purposes, if nothing changes next fiscal year, we'd be looking at a tax increase just to cover this loss of revenue, correct?
That is correct, yes.
So that's where it's all leading.
And that loss of revenue is about $800,000.
Which is what, 7 cents or so, 6.5 cents on the tax rate?
Yeah, 6.5, 7 cents.
We're back.
Glad I got y'all doing math.
So that's 120,000 on that, unlike schools, which is 113.
Yes.
Back on resolution 12-1909, as substituted, the extra handout that you got. Any more questions on that? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Barry?
Yes.
Rushiers?
Yes.
Cunningham? Yes. East?
Yes.
Ellis?
Yes.
Gann?
Yes.
Henderson?
Yeah.
Hester?
Yes.
Hickman?
Yes.
Cooks?
Yes.
Meadows?
Yes.
Moore? White?
Yes.
Wilson?
Yes.
14 yes.
Resolution 12-1909 is substituted, is adopted. Resolution 12-1910, a resolution to appropriate the General Fund 101, the function of pre-trial diversion release. Motion by Commissioner Meadows. Second by Commissioner Hester. Commissioner Meadows.
This came from, let's see, let me make sure I'm looking at this right. The Jail Ad Hoc Committee,
Substitution.
and we need to substitute again.
So go back to your,
Resolution 12-19-10 for resolution, the other,
go back to your pile, Resolution 12-1910 substituted.
right.
Be the second one in your packet.
And the only thing you got, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Mr. Moore.
Well, I was thinking that we went 2 and 2 on that committee. We didn't make a decision.
Remember, Mr. Bell changed his vote.
Did he change it?
He changed his vote.
Okay.
Back to the
Good,
sub,
what I remember, right.
Yes.
back to the substituted 12-1910, Mr. Meadows.
Okay, this came from the Jail Alternative Committee. I think Chief Deputy Phillips just said it very well. How are we going to keep them out? You know, we could go ahead and build beds all we want, fill them up all day long. One thing that we looked at, and we had Anderson County came in and talked to us about their pre-trial supervision program, and we are recommending that we adopt this. And what this does, it, in my mind, will take care of people who come in that are nonviolent offenders or first-time nonviolent offenders who cannot make traditional bail. Let's say they come in and they got a $5,000 bond, they can't make the $500. They're no real threat to society, yet we keep them 30, 60, 90 days over there until their case is adjudicated. In this case, we could set up a program that would allow them to get back out, get back into society, get back to their job and whatever it is they're doing, yet keep tabs on them in the meantime. I think that this won't necessarily take money from the bail bondsman, because we're going to have contact built into our program where we reach out and touch these people periodically, whereas once the bonding company makes their bond, you know, they don't necessarily have to be any further contact until they either do or don't show up. It's worked in Anderson County. It's not, I mean, it's not an end all. It's one part of the puzzle that can help, not necessarily the current population, but in the future populations, keeping people out of jail that don't necessarily need to be there, and free up bed space for those who really need to be incarcerated.
Commissioner Hooks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This was not recommended by the Budget Committee. It was just a pass-through. And the reason being is when we looked at it in the next resolution coming up, bringing probation in-house, essentially we're creating 2 departments here. Each one of them has a director, $45,265, and one of them has a staff member of 36,791. Probation has, I assumed, up to 2, if not 3 staff members of 73,582. Our question was, could we not achieve the same goal by putting them under the same department? Because once you add employees, they're employees. And the question came up, could you legally do that? Do you know any reason that we could not put both of those under the same department?
No, but I've not had an opportunity to look at it. So what can we do?
To the county executive right quick.
I'll give it to the
I've got
county.
it, I've got them. I didn't, oh, you want to yield to me?
You raised your hand.
Yeah, I was just want to say one thing on the substitute resolution came from the budget committee, I guess, or maybe from the ad hoc committee. The only thing on the substitute resolution that was different than the one that you may have seen filed is we had to change the title of that one from pretrial diversion to pretrial supervision. So the substitute on this one is very simple, it's a change in a wording, okay? But that dealt with that. And to Mr. Hooks' question, that was a discussion of the budget committee. The budget committee decided to send it over without a recommendation, recognizing that the pretrial supervision is a new department, new expenditure, no revenue, new tax. That was a discussion the budget committee had.
Mr. Hooks.
And then we had that discussion, just like Mr. Hooks said, is there any way to combine these people?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, County Executive Woody. And with that, if you look at the second resolution,
We're not on the second resolution.
Stick with the first one right quick.
okay. Well, I don't know how you could speak to one and not the other when you speak to dollars. This creates new money, this creates revenue. And I'll leave it at that.
Commissioner Wilson.
Basically, I think you need to let some time go by. I think for every employee that we have, that we add expenditure, it's about, roughly about a half a cent that we're bringing in. Right now, we especially with the jail going on, I think we need to tighten in, if anything. And there's no guarantee that you let these people out, that they're not gonna recycle right back in. So, matter of fact, I think we can look at that and kind of know that it's kind of what's going on. Recidivism's so high right now over there, so, even the people we let out, there's no guarantee they may not walk right in the back door again and be back over there. So my thought is, let's let some time go by, let's not put any new tax, let's not put any expenditure, let's see how this operates, see how we're going right now, and then, that's just my thought on it.
Commissioner Meadows.
This particular resolution was supported by the budget committee. It was the next one that was passed on without any recommendation. This idea is supported by the, check the minutes, by Judge Stevens, Judge Wiggs, and the DA. Now, if we want to table this and look at it further, I have no issue with that. But, the thing about it is, we're going to have to do something, because what we've been doing the last few years, several years, it's not working. So something that's going to have to be done at all levels to keep our population down. And if we want to put this off and study it later, even the next one, that's fine. But we were charged with, coming up with ideas to present to the commission, and the commission makes final decisions.
Okay, well, resolution 12-1910 substitute. Commissioner Hester.
All right. So we're growing government, right? How many positions are we growing? 1, 2? All right. So we're reducing the jail population. We're adding to the jail. So how many, these two people, they're going to be supervising director and over how many pretrial diversion or pretrial inmates?
Anderson County said they have a department this size that we're supervising 200. Is that what it was?
Yes.
And so, and my problem with this is I don't know the performance level of that job. So when I grow that government by those two positions, what's my yield at the end of the year? Okay, they've reduced recidivism by 30%. Man, if they did that, I'd hire them. But I have no expectation of what these positions yield to me. And I would go with you, Darrell, because this is the first time really, within the last 5 days I've looked at this. And one of them did not come through a committee, I don't know which one. This one came through the jail study committee, is it right, 12/19/09? Or what committee did, the budget committee?
Budget committee did 09, this one came through this jail study committee, came to the budget committee, to the commission without a recommendation, I think, on this.
It came to the, no, without a recommendation from the budget committee.
Without a recommendation.
Right, the second one. The first one did have a recommendation, budget committee, the second one did not. Well, it didn't have any recommendation.
Yeah, it was no recommendation, it wasn't a no, it wasn't a yes, it was just neutral.
I'd agree with Darrell, let's table it to further discussion or something.
We'll send it back to
Mr. Chairman, at this time, I'd like to make an amendment to the table.
Would you like to
Make a motion to.
you make a motion on this one and the next one, or just this one?
I would say both.
So Mr. Hester's motion is to send 12/19/10 and 12/19/11 back to the jail ad hoc study committee.
Okay. I'll second, I'm good with
Second
that.
by Commissioner Meadows. Any other discussion, Mr. Hester?
No, sir.
Commissioner Meadows?
Nothing.
Any other discussion? Other discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Barry?
Yes.
Rushier?
Yes.
Cunningham? Yes. East?
Yes.
Ellis?
Yes.
Gann?
Yes.
Hendrickson?
Yes.
Hester?
Yes.
Hickman?
Yes.
Coates?
Yes.
Meadows?
Yes.
Moore?
Send it back to committee.
White?
Yes.
Wilson?
Yes.
14 yes.
Resolution 12/19/10 and 12/19/11 is sent back to the jail alternative ad hoc committee.
And Mr. Chairman, may I be invited to the next jail ad hoc committee meeting that you have?
Yeah, it's going to be a week from the 9th, 5:30 here. And also in attendance will be the magistrates to talk about what they do and what they.
So 16 December.
5:30.
16. Okay.
And that's for everyone who wants to.
This is this room? Be in
No,
this room?
it's in the other.
Okay, well, okay.
Resolution 12/19/12, resolution to appropriate the ambulance fund 118, the deductible cost of $25,000 from Nova Casualty Company. Resolution by Commissioner Wilson, second by Commissioner Cunningham. Commissioner Wilson.
I guess I would defer to,
This is just to pay our deductible on a employment law or employment suit.
yeah, that's all.
Commissioner Cunningham.
It has been before the budget committee recommends.
This is our liability policy that has $25,000.
Professional liability is 25.
Ms. Cunningham, you have any other questions or comments? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Barry?
Yes.
Rushier?
Yes.
Cunningham? Yes. East?
Yes.
Ellis?
Yes.
Gann?
Yes.
Hendrickson?
Yes.
Hester?
Yes.
Hickman?
Yes.
Coates?
Yes.
Meadows?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Wilson?
Yes.
14 yes.
Resolution 12/19/12 is adopted. Resolution 12/19/13, a resolution to begin the new jail expansion by moving or raising buildings that exist on needed property. Motion by Commissioner Moore, second by Commissioner Meadows. Commissioner Moore.
Order, did I miss 12/11, 19/11? Is that the one we're taking?
Yes.
Madam, I was talking to you.
So you got a motion on the last one.
Yeah, I'm good.
Would you like to address the last one? Mr. Meadows.
I actually was asking a question, but I couldn't ask it.
Mr. Chairman, may I withdraw this resolution at this time?
County Executive would like to withdraw Resolution 12/19/13 with no objection. We want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. This will be our last full meeting. Hope you enjoy the cupcakes. I wish I said I made them, but I didn't. Enjoy those. We'd like to wish you a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Motion adjourned.
Make a motion.
Motion by Commissioner Wilson, second by Commissioner White. All in favor say aye. Meeting adjourned.